Hello everybody. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day today. It is Saturday morning, but like when I say morning, I mean 2 in the morning. Excuse me, I had to get a drink. The other day when I was on, I promised to come back and tell you guys about the conversation that I had with my neighbor. And first off, a little bit of a backstory with her is that she, when we moved in, we've lived in the complex for a while, but this particular apartment, we moved in last year in September. And she introduced herself right away, wanted to know if she could come over and have coffee or tea or whatever and talk. Which I, of course, said yes. I am a very social person, and I do like to get to know people and visit. And anyways, but she is 84, so it's a little bit, I don't want to say awkward, but it kind of is, just because we're so in such different places, I guess, in our lives. But anyways, nonetheless, she started coming over at first like twice a week, and she really, really wanted Lincoln to like her. Well, Lincoln is my black and white dog. He is kind of scared. He has some anxiety with new people. Once he knows you, he loves you, and he absolutely loves you. He'll get super excited when you come over, and he shows no sign of anxiety anymore. But he has to get to know you. So I told her, the more she comes over, the more he'll get at ease with her, and she continued to bring treats for the dogs when she came and everything, and which was fine. And then it went from like 2 times a week to 3, then to 4 to 5 to almost every single day. 1 second. Okay, sorry about that. Maddie was just low a little bit ago, and so she had to have some chocolate milk to bring her blood sugar up, and then now she was thirsty for some water, so she was just calling me. So anyways, back to what I was saying. So she started coming every day and giving the dogs like mass amounts of treats, which we kind of had to tell her to back off on because Lincoln, he was starting to put a little weight on. Now Maya, she could use any weight she could get. She's always just a real slender dog, but she's healthy though, so it's just her breed. But anyways, I started feeling a little overwhelmed because she wasn't just coming over to visit anymore. And when she would come to visit, sometimes she would stay for like an hour or longer. And I wasn't so comfortable with her that I could just like do what I wanted, go about my day or whatever. I felt like I needed to sit and visit and entertain her. And it just got to be kind of a lot. And anyways, and she needed things all the time, where it was helping bring her groceries in, finding her keys that she lost, putting her necklace on for her, taking a light bulb out of a lamp because she didn't know which way to turn it, setting up new lamps that she got because she couldn't figure out how to do it, setting up a card table for a brunch she was having because she didn't know how to do that. And it was just like one thing after another. And she's always like, your IQ must be off the charts. And I'm thinking, lady, I am like, this is like basic stuff. So she's just kind of either kind of losing her memories, and not knows stuff. Jack, what are you doing? Holy cow, my cat just scared the bejesus out of me. He just like jumped up on the counter right next to me. I did not see him coming. Anyways, so she's either kind of like losing her memory as she's getting older. She's 84. or I don't know, she had somebody doing things for her entire life. I know her old neighbor at her old place did a lot for her because she still comes and cleans her house for her for free, just to help, which is awesome. But it's just kind of a pattern that looks like, and we are thinking about moving possibly. I not immediately, but it kind of worries me a little bit about what she'll do when we move, because I don't know how she'll live, because she just depends on me so much. But anyways, she really genuinely does care about our family, and I do appreciate that. I do. But there's kind of a line you don't cross when it comes to certain things. She is not my mother. She is not my kid's grandmother. She's a neighbor. And like I said, as much as I know she does genuinely love our kids, there are certain things I just don't feel like it's any of her business to bring up. So, anyways, I don't even know how long ago it was. I think it was last spring. She came to me and wanted to talk to me without the kids, and I said, okay. She wanted to talk about sex education in school. And I was like, oh, well, Alex already did it. And she got like super disappointed and a little bit upset, and started saying like how wrong it was, and that I really shouldn't let him do that. And then she handed me this pamphlet, and she goes, take one for you, and then take more to hand out to your friends. And I said, well, what is this? And she started kind of explaining it to me, that it is so here's the pamphlet. And it's called the Alternative Healthy Family Formation, a project of Teen Aid. And the description says that it serves families of Washington State that with alternative sexual risk avoidance education, a healthy solution to the risks and consequences teens face, is teaching life skills that connect teens to their parenting and community. So it teaches them relationship skills, communication, reproductive anatomy, goal setting, problem solving, prevention strategies, as in preventing sex, consequences of non-marital sexual activity, and community resource information. And it goes more in detail, and it is actually an accredited thing. Like, if they need a sexual education for high school, let's say, and they need that credit to graduate, if they do this, they can, it is a credit, they can get credits for it. So it's not just like some tiny little thing that, some churches like, I don't know. Anyways, hard to explain. But basically, this is a Christian alternative to regular sex education in the school. Now, I haven't said this yet, I guess, but she is a devout, very strong Christian. Huge Trump supporter. Huge, any politician that claims to be a Christian, she is donating money, going to benefits, and that's okay. That's her choice. What she believes and who she follows, or gives her money to, or whatever, that is totally her choice. Because that's none of my business. I try really hard, and I'm not going into politics on here. I'm absolutely not. I don't want any talk about politics on this comments, nothing, because it just starts problems with people, and I don't even want that near my channel. So, but I do, I try really hard when she says certain things that kind of upset me or kind of rub me the wrong way. I try really hard to like just steer the conversation in another direction. But there are certain things that I just don't tolerate. And so anyways, I told her I would read this, and I'd look it over or whatever. And then she proceeded to tell me that how much they were teaching kids in school, like, about how to have sex. And then she tells me they're teaching kids how to suck a penis. And I said, excuse me? Hold on, my cat is just going bananas over here. Jack! Okay, I'm sorry. So my cat is, it's nighttime, 2 a.m, like I said. And you know how cats like come alive at night? Yeah. Well, he is playing with a plastic grocery bag that he took out of my grocery bag thing. And he's just like scooting around the floor and digging it and attacking it, and he's being super loud. Anyway. So she tells me that the public education in schools, in my son's school, that they're teaching him, they're teaching girls how to do this. And I'm like, Marilyn, no, they're not. And she goes, no, they are. And I'm like, where did you hear this? And she goes, from these women. And I'm like, what women? Well, I said, did you hear it from the woman that runs this program? Well, not her directly, but they're Christian women. And I'm like, okay, but Christian women lie too. Like, everybody lies. She seems to have this notion that, like, if you're a Christian, that you don't do anything wrong. That you don't lie, or you wouldn't spread gossip or something. And I'm sorry, but and I grew up in a church. I've been going to church my entire life, and honestly, some of the biggest gossip people are in the church, so that doesn't fly. And I have issues with that. But she's trying to defend this by saying, oh, well, they're good Christian women. And so I tried to explain to her, like, especially when people get emotional about something, that things change. And it's like that game Telephone, where one person says something to another, and then you go to the 10th person and the message has changed completely. And I'm like, that is, I think, what's going on here. I said, they do not teach that in school. And she says, well, how would you know? I said, because my son would tell me. She goes, well, you don't know that. I said, yeah, I do. I know my son well enough to know if that was happening in school, that would be honestly, with the way he is, the first thing he would say walking through that door is that. And later when I was talking to my husband about this, he totally agreed that, yeah, Alex would 100% come home and immediately say something about it. And so she's like, well, I hope you're right. I hope you're right. And so so the conversation ended, and it was, like I said, this was back like last spring. Well, recently she has started to kind of be, I don't know if critical is the right word, but she'll say things to the kids like, oh, you shouldn't do that. Or one day she came over and there was some alcohol swabs. There was a box that had spilled. And she's like, is this your kids doing? And I was like, I think that was Maddie, but I said, we all kind of, do stuff like that sometimes. And she goes, well, it would sure be nice if they didn't do that. It would really help you. She seems to like, I don't know. And then my son, he takes her garbage for her to the dumpster because she has a really hard time carrying it over there. She's old and has some things health-wise that prevent her. So we've been taking her garbage for her for the last year. Well, my son started doing it for her, and she did start paying him to do it. And it was about, I don't know, a couple weeks ago. He came home. He told her the day before he'd come after school. And when he got home, he was really tired. He was doing his homework. He was doing his chores and all that kind of stuff. Well, by the time he was done with all that, he was really tired and like genuinely didn't want to do it. And I kind of talked to him about it because I'm like, well, when you tell somebody you're going to do something, you need to follow through with it. So he went over and, she came over to the house and said something and about him coming. And I said, yeah, I'm going to go talk to him. And she says something about how he was supposed to come that morning. And we were like, no, Marilyn, we told you he's back in school and that he couldn't do it till after school. She's like, oh, well, I've just been waiting all day. And I was like, I'll go talk to him right now. So I went in and he went over and got it. She lectured him for like 10 minutes about how about all this stuff about not coming to get it. And then she started saying things to him, and this is what really started irritating me. She said, and I quote because I can hear, she was right next door, "This is why your mother doesn't get enough sleep, because she has to tell you and remind you to do things." And I am like, what the heck? That has nothing to do with me not getting enough sleep. I don't get enough sleep because I'm up checking my daughter's blood sugar and worrying about that. Like, it has absolutely nothing to do with reminding him to pick up her garbage. Like, that is the last thing on my mind, honestly, at night. Like, why would I worry about that? And so he was kind of a little bit upset about that. And there was some other things she said that was just kind of way out there that made no sense. And I was a little annoyed about. And then recently she started walking in our house. She literally just walks right on in like it's her own home. I never once told her she could do that. I've never even, when she's used to knock on the door, I've never even said like, come on in. Like, I never said she could just come in, and she started doing that. Well, I definitely the type of person that I don't like confronting people. I get really nervous, and I was like, well, it's not a huge deal. If it becomes a problem, I'll kind of deal with it then. And then one time I had taken Lincoln to our field, which is a field across the street. I take him every night to go potty, and Maya, for some reason I didn't take Maya that night. Well, the kids were in their bedroom, and I had taken Maya over. Well, Marilyn walks in our house. Apparently the kids didn't really want to deal with it, so they didn't get up and go to the door. But they heard her, and she called me a few times, and I didn't answer. Well, then they said she proceeded to come in. She went in. Oh, shoot. I just spilled these. I must have not turned. I didn't close it when I put it away. Shoot. Okay. So anyway, she proceeded to come in the house, and she went and sat in our recliner chair, called Maya over to her, fed Maya all these treats, sat there for 15 minutes, and then left. Yeah. Who does that? Like, who does that? I'm thinking, I don't know. It's just so bizarre, because I wouldn't do that even, like, I don't know. It just is out there for me, I guess. And so I'm like, all right, yeah, I'm gonna have to talk to her about that, because that's just not cool. Well, life kind of happened, and I hadn't talked to her about it yet. Well, one day I was in the bedroom, which is on the other side of the house where she comes in, in the bedroom talking to my husband, and when I came out, she was sitting in a rocking chair, feeding the dogs treats, and nobody let her in. Nobody knew she was even there. So I kind of said something. So she has stopped walking in for the most part. But then the other night she comes over. Well, it was afternoon when she first asked. So she came over in the afternoon and said that she wanted to talk to me and asked if I could come over to her house and talk with her. And I said, yeah. I said, I'm kind of busy right now, but I'll come over later. I'll try to come over later this evening. And I told her I'm not really sure what time, but I said I'll try to come over later. So, life goes on, and I totally spaced it. And so about, I want to say, 10 o'clock. That was 10 o'clock. She comes over, and we had our door open because we were trying to cool down the house, because it was hot that day, but it's starting to get cool, cold at nighttime. So anyways, so she comes over, and she comes in, and she says, did you forget? And I said, oh, I'm so sorry, I did. I said, and I was actually asleep on the couch, I was exhausted from that day. And I said, yeah. I said, I'm so sorry, I forgot. I said, are you going to be around tomorrow? And she goes, well, it's really important, Beth. It's really important, and it won't take very long. Could you just please come over tonight? And I said, okay. So I'm thinking that it's something kind of maybe time sensitive, or I don't know, whatever. So I'm like, all right, I'll be over in a minute. So I get dressed, because I'm in my pajamas. I get dressed, and I go over there. And she says, okay, come sit down. And I'm like, all right. So I go. I'm already kind of irritated at this point because I was asleep, and it's 10 o'clock. And my bad for not going over there because I forgot. And I was exhausted from the day. But still, it's 10 o'clock at night. And so I'm like, this better be damn important because she doesn't have a job. So it's not like I couldn't have talked to her the next morning. So she says, okay, I really need to talk to you about something. And I said, all right. And she goes, we talked about a couple months ago about this, and I really don't think you took it seriously enough. For the importance of your kids, I don't think you took it seriously. And I said, Marilyn, what are you talking about? So again, she pulls out this damn pamphlet and hands it to me. And she goes, I know you didn't call her to ask her about it because I called her and asked if you had called. And I am just in my head, I'm thinking, and I'm not going to actually say the words I was thinking, but I was mad. I'm like, who does she think she is? Not only to tell me I didn't take something seriously enough, but to call and check up on us to see if I actually called this lady or not. What? I mean, it baffled my mind. I was so, I was kind of reeling in my head, so I was trying really hard to, focus on being calm and productive, but say what I needed to say and get my point across. That this was not her business to be, telling me. So, and I did, and I did it in a nice way, but I really did stand up for myself, and I told her, I said, Marilyn, I thought about it, and there is absolutely no way they're teaching girls how to do that. I mean, can you imagine if they're teaching girls how to suck a guy's penis? I mean, come on. And I don't even understand it. I don't understand it. And so she says, no, it's true. I've talked to women about it. And I'm like, Marilyn, have you ever gone and sat in a classroom and seen it? Well, no. Have you ever talked to a school board and asked them? Well, no. Well, then you're listening to gossip. You're not, this is not a fact. And so then she says, well, you could call her, though. What would it hurt? What would it hurt? Just call her. And I said, you know what? I am going to call her, and I'm going to challenge her. Because if she wants to tell me that they're teaching the kids that in school, I'm going to challenge her on it. And I want some factual information. But honestly, I don't think that this woman is going to tell me that. I really don't. I think that Marilyn has gotten it so twisted in her head that this has happened. I mean, it's so bizarre. And I don't think that this lady that runs this organization is going to say that, because that's cuckoo. That's just crazy. And anyways, so I tell her, I'm going to call her, and I said, and I'm going to ask her for some factual information. And so she's, happy that I'm going to call her or whatever. And then she starts talking about my husband again. Now, one day she came over we had family here. My mother-in-law, my sister-in-law, and my brother-in-law were all here. We were all sitting in the living room visiting. And in walks Marilyn. She sees the family here. Oh, hello. Nice to meet you. Comes and sits down and just kind of takes over the conversation. Well, my husband was a little annoyed about that because, well, his family was here visiting, and she just comes in with no invitation. And so anyway, she says that day he just looked so sad. I could just tell how depressed he is. And so she says, I've talked to the counselor at my church, and she says that you guys need to call. And I was like, excuse me? She goes, well, I tried to make an appointment for you. Yeah, she tried to make an appointment for us without even talking to us first. And the woman obviously was like, no, if they want to come in and talk to us, then they have to call and make the appointment, which I'm like, which is an obvious thing. But so I said, Marilyn, you honestly have no place to do that. I said, this is between me and Seth. That is Seth's decision. If he wants to go find a counselor to talk to, that is his decision. You are not to be calling and making appointments for us. And I said, and if he decides to do that, we won't be using this woman, because I can guarantee she'll be calling her, asking her stuff. And I don't think this woman would tell her anything, because that's, against ethics and all sorts of other things. But it still would be annoying for her, and it's not a good idea. It's just not a good idea. I said, I've had a counselor since I was 16 years old, and if he chooses to go and talk to somebody, he'll probably go see her. Well, is she a Christian counselor? I said, she's a Christian, but no, she is not a Christian counselor. Well, no, you need to see a Christian counselor. No, Marilyn, we can see who we want to see. This is not your life. This is my life. My kids, my decision, all that stuff. I was just kind of like in my head, kind of reeling about, like, I didn't know what to do. I really didn't. I have been super stressed about how to even deal with her from this point on, because she really has upset me with saying these things, trying to, if she was the grandma, I can understand some of it, but even then, this isn't a grandma's place to say what we do and what we decide with our kids. It's not. And I hope I didn't mess this up, because I might have. This painting, off topic, I love the painting. Everything is really nice, except for she only uses letters and numbers. And there is a problem, because the Q and the O are so identical, and they're teal and blue, so they look so much alike. And E and F are like the same, and D and C, and what's the other one? 8 and B, Q and B. I mean, it's kind of I have learned that is why they use other symbols in things and not just the alphabet, because yeah, these are just not. It's yeah. So I messed up. So I put the O's where the Q's should be, and now I have to take those off, put them where the Q's go, put the Q's where the, yeah, anyways. I just totally messed it up. Dang. Okay, so Q, here are the different colors, like between the Q and the O. So they're really, really similar. And they look really similar on the canvas, like extremely similar on the canvas. Oh, brother. Okay. Anyways, I don't even, I guess, I don't know. Have you guys ever had any kind of experience like this where you've had somebody that, not even a family member, like try to tell you kind of what to do, and I don't know, she just made me feel really really uncomfortable when she accused me of not taking it seriously enough, or you know, it was like, I don't know. I take my kids pretty damn seriously. I take their education seriously. I take what we believe seriously. And I think that just because it's different than what maybe she believes, that she doesn't think we do. Even though we do. And I'm going to have to sit down and talk to her again about it. I did, so I called this woman, though. Here's a funny story. I called the woman. Left her a message because she didn't answer. And I said, hey, I got your number from my neighbor. She's real concerned because she thinks that this is, you know, some pretty crazy stuff's going on at the schools during sexual education. And I said, I've kind of tried to explain to her that the things she was saying doesn't really make sense. So I'd really like to talk to you about it, and talk to you about your program, and just kind of see what's going on. And she hasn't called me back. And that was a week ago. So I don't know what to think about that, because I just don't. It's just so bizarre. Everything. It's just all weird. And I feel like I really need to distance myself from her. For my sake, for the kids' sake. But it's hard because she lives right next door. And it's hard because I do feel bad for her, because she is a single woman. She doesn't have family. And she's lonely, and she's a very social person, and that's pretty evident. And likes to visit, and she loves the dogs. And but I've just kind of had it with some things, and some kind of rudeness that's gone on. There was a couple times I was doing my live, and I had posted a sign out my door in case she came over that I was doing a live and to not come in. Well, she came in anyways, or knocked on the door, and then my dogs go berserk because they see her, and she always brings treats. And I'm like, my son went and answered it for me and told her, like, she'd have to come back, and she just, I don't even remember what it was she needed, and it was like, oh, it's super important. And I'm like, I'm sorry, Marilyn, you're gonna have to call someone else. And she just doesn't have any boundaries, I think, is the problem. So it's been kind of stressful, and it really makes me want to move that much more. There's other things that make me want to move as well, but that is now a pretty big one. just because, I don't know. I wanted to feel, I think everybody should be able to feel comfortable in their own home, and I don't anymore. I feel like I have to hide. I don't want to have to talk to her, every day, multiple times a day. She had said something about Maddie not liking her. And I said, well, why do you think that? Well, because when I come over, she goes into her bedroom now. She didn't used to do that. I said, Marilyn, she's 10 years old. She doesn't find our conversations entertaining at all. They're boring to her. She's 10. And she's like, yeah, she's such a doll, and I just like her so much. And I just wish she would, visit and stay when I come over. And I'm like, she's 10. Like, she's 10. When I was 10 years old, oh my gosh, there's no way I'd want to sit there and, listen to my mom and a neighbor talk. That'd be boring. Anyways, there was this one time, too, that, and again, I don't want any comments about this particular, this event. If you want to say something about what she's talking about, fine. But I just don't want to go into, like, the politic and that kind of a thing. But in Spokane, we had this thing, and it was it was, I think, over a month ago now. But at the Spokane Public Library downtown, they had oh my gosh, I'm drawing a blank. When a drag queen, they had a drag queen come to the library and read a book to the kids. And so she hears what she hears and comes over and starts telling me about this. I hadn't even heard of it because, honestly, I don't really watch TV. I don't watch the news super often because I really don't. It's kind of depressing. And so I stay up, I stay in the loop as much as I need to, but I don't go above and beyond to see what's happening and all the crap that goes on in the world. With my anxiety and depression, it really is just not good for me. Anyway, so I hadn't even heard of this and what she was talking about. So I was like, what are you talking about, Marilyn? And she's like, oh, how'd you not know this? And I was like, because I don't watch the news. Oh my goodness. Well, she says the library had brought in, I gotta take a drink. Hold on one sec. Okay. Sorry, I had to get a drink real quick. Okay, so she starts telling me about this event that happened that, yes, this drag queen came. She, where the heck did my tweezers go? Really? Did I, walk off with them or what? I have other ones, but I don't like these ones as much. Sad. Where did they go? That's really weird. That is very weird. I'm gonna have to pull some other tweezers. Okay, so she tells me they had a big event at the library where this drag queen came, and by the way, you guys, look at this. Look at this crazy amount of really nice tweezers. But I want the ones that curve, because those are the easiest for me to pick. The ones like this, to pick them off of the canvas if you've made a mistake. And I don't know where I carried mine off to. Probably to the fridge when I just went and got something to drink. But, okay, so she's telling me about the event, how it's, the drag queen comes to read books to the children. Now, whether you agree with that or not isn't about, that's not what the story really is about. The story is about how she thinks what went down was completely crazy and didn't make sense to me, because of, it's like going against the Constitution. It's going against your rights as a human and as an American. So she says they, nobody knew about it, that people came to this event, the story reading, and the kids went into the room without the parents, and they closed the door, and this woman, or man, dressed as woman, drag queen, read the book, something about how, like, a family is a family is a family, doesn't matter how many moms or dads or whatever, it's still a family. And that she was reading this book to these children, and the parents weren't allowed in, they weren't allowed to get their children, they didn't know about this, and all this stuff. And that I said, that makes no sense. Somebody would have called the police. Oh no, there were police all over. There were police there, and they were the ones not letting the parents in to get their kids. And I'm like, Marilyn, that makes no sense. I said, I was like, they could have got arrested. Nope. They were on the library side at doing this event, and they wouldn't let them in, and they were standing guard. And I'm like, okay. And then she says, oh, and they had guns, and they were drawing them, and they had them drawn at the people. Now, they only had them drawn at the people that were there that didn't agree with this. But the people that were there to support it, they didn't have their guns drawn at them. And I was like, did you see that? Did you actually see this happening? Well, no, but I have Christian women friends that have told me about it. And I'm like, just because they're Christians, it doesn't mean they're telling the truth. And again, this is an emotional topic. And when something is emotional, things get out of hand. You say things just a little off, maybe exaggerating just a little bit, and everybody does, and then it gets blown out of hand. And then she tells me that this pastor got arrested. And I said, well, what did he do? Nothing. He just walked into the library, and they arrested him because he was a pastor. And I was like, Marilyn, they can't arrest somebody for being a pastor. Like, that doesn't make sense. Well, she was dead set that all this stuff had happened. And so when she left, I researched it. The pastor, he got arrested because he tried multiple times to get into the reading area, where they actually had to turn people away that wanted to be there because it was such a popular event. Obviously, all of the parents knew what was going on, and all of the parents were in the room at all times with their children. And then this pastor tried, like I said, numerous times to get in. On the third attempt to get into the room where the kids were getting read to, they arrested him because they had, he had warnings, and he forcefully tried to get in. And of course they have to. I mean, they have to have crowd control in all this. They did have guns with them because they anticipated that there would be protests, and people can carry guns, and if they have a permit. And so the police had guns. Obviously, they're police. They weren't drawing them at anybody. They didn't. I mean, police are trained not to point their gun unless they have to shoot. So, anyways, all of this stuff in her stories don't make sense. And that's why I was like, it's just hard sometimes to listen, because I don't want to argue, because I don't want to start like a big debate about something. But at the same time, it's hard to listen to something that is so inaccurate, and that you're placing blame and saying really negative things about people that are not true. That is very irritating to me, regardless of what my beliefs are about, a drag queen reading to the kids. Like, that doesn't even matter. Like, it's just a fact that, like, let's say I didn't agree. They're still humans. They still deserve to be treated with respect. And if let's say I did agree, the people that don't agree are still humans, and they deserve to be treated with respect. And when you're talking about people that and saying things that aren't not true, that's disrespectful. And so anyways, I do, you know, before I used to sit and just kind of let her say what she wanted to say, not really argue with her about anything. But I've kind of got to the point where I'm like, I can't just listen to it anymore. And so I'm challenging her more. And it's just been, yeah. I know this video is kind of all over the place, but I guess I needed to kind of vent about this because it's something that has been stressing me out because I'm not sure really the right way to go to handle this, because I need to definitely put up some new boundaries. I did tell her, because when we were talking about how she said Maddie didn't like her, I said, well, you do come over, you know, an awful lot, and so maybe you could come over a little less. And I also made it clear that she was not to just walk in the house anymore, and also that she was not allowed to come over past 8 o'clock. Because this summer, she came over one night at midnight because she saw our door was open and thought, oh, they're awake, let's go visit at midnight. And, no. I love talking, but I'm not up for visiting anybody at midnight. No. I'm like half asleep usually on the couch. And the only reason my door is open is because I trust my dogs. And they would go berserk if somebody tried to come even close to our house. I would know about it. But anyways, so I did set up some boundaries with her. And I have to just, I guess, stick to those and be, I don't know. I would like to get out of here anyways, though, because with our dogs, the old manager that used to be here, she, we were like best friends, and she got fired last April. Well, she would allow my dogs to go potty off leash because she knew how well trained they were. They were on a mental leash. They are both, like, Maya is a service dog, Lincoln is a service dog in training. When I call my dogs, they come. And they also know the boundaries, like not to go past this place or that place or whatever. So it wasn't a big deal if they went out and pottied without their leashes on. They, even with other dogs, like they're fine. They handle themselves. They are not going to wander off. They're not going to run, you know, they like other dogs, but even if another dog didn't, they're not going to challenge them or anything. They just would come home because that's what I would say. I mean, I go outside with them, but Lincoln literally used to really not, he would refuse to pee with a leash on. He just wouldn't do it. And he still will not poop with a leash on. Anyway, so we were pretty spoiled with that because she knew my dogs, she knew they were well trained, so she allowed us to do that. Well, we have a cat, and his name is Jack, and we got him this February it'll be 3 years. So, or that's when he was born. We got him in April for my birthday. So we've had him for 2.5 years. When we first got him, we got him approved through the office because this is a no pet community, so they have to either be a service animal or a companion animal. So Jack was a companion animal for me, for my anxiety, and the dogs are for Maddie for her diabetes. And so, anyways, but about 2 months ago, I get a call from the office saying that Jack had never been approved. And I was like, he's been here for 2.5 years and he was approved. And they said, well, he wasn't approved through the right channel. Like Charlene, the manager that was here, he was approved. But he didn't get approved through the office, the corporate office or whatever. I was like, okay, so what do we do? Well, you gotta go through the paperwork again. I said, all right, no big deal. So I went down, I filled the paperwork out, and they sent it off. And then they tell me, well, he can't be here while we're waiting for this paperwork to come back. And I'm like, excuse me, he's a cat. What do you think I would do? Or am I going to be able to do with him? Take him to a garage and say, hey, can I rent a storage unit and so my cat can be here? He's a cat. Like, dogs are actually much more adjustable, like to go to a boarder or like a family member or something. But cats are not. They do not adjust that well. And so I kind of just told them, like, he's not going anywhere. So then, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 days later, we get a notice. It's called a 10-day. I don't know if they have these everywhere or just here. I don't know. Anyways, we get a 10-day because he the corporate gal, whatever, came around and did an inspection and saw Jack. Well, Jack must have been in one of the windows, but she would have had to literally like come to our house to check and see. So we get this 10-day that basically says, like, within 10 days, if he's not, removed from the premises, that we then could get a 20-day to vacate the apartment. So I'm like, 10 days? Okay, well, the approval usually takes 3 to 5 days. No big deal. We'll have the approval before the 10 days are up. Well, I'm waiting, and I'm waiting, and I'm waiting, and I call the office a couple times and say, have you heard anything yet? No, not yet. I'm like, okay. He's like, I'll tell you if I do. Well, I still don't hear. Well, I called my doctor, and they're like, we haven't gotten any paperwork yet from them. I'm like, what? And they're like, yeah, we have not got any facts from them yet. So I call the corporate office, and I'm like, my doctors haven't got faxes from you guys. So how can he get approved if you guys are not sending them the paperwork? I don't know, some lame excuse, whatever. So then they send the paperwork. So my doctor calls me back later that day and says, I got the paperwork, I signed it, it's sent off, you should be good to go. I said, okay, cool. So I'm thinking everything's cool. The manager here still didn't call me. I'm thinking, he probably is just busy. He'll call me when he gets a chance to let me know. But I'm thinking everything's fine and he's approved. This was like at least 3 weeks ago. That is why I'm thinking everything's good. Well, Jack snuck out one day. Jack likes to try to sneak outside. He snuck outside one day, and it happened to be when Kenny was walking by. And so we got a 10-day for him being outside. But we didn't get it for him being here. So again, I'm thinking, okay, we got it because he went outside, but because he's not supposed to be outside without a leash or whatever, because he's a cat and for whatever reason. Whatever, I don't care. I'm not even worried about that. But we didn't get one for having him on the premises, so he has to be approved, right? Wrong. So today's Friday, so on Wednesday, I get a call from him asking me to either call him back or come down to the office. Well, when he called, I was over at the field. So on the way back, we passed the office. So I went in, and he's telling me that Jack has been denied to live here. And I said, I'm like, what? Why? I said, my doctor filled out the paperwork. They told me they did. And he's like, yeah, but they didn't fill out one of the questions. And I was like, what? And he goes, yeah, there was one question that he didn't answer. But he agreed, yes, I do have anxiety and depression. He agreed, yes, a cat would be beneficial to my well-being. And he signed it. There was one question, and I'm not sure what question that was, that he forgot to write down the answer or whatever. Well, so I'm like, okay, well, I said, I'll call him and have him make sure he does it. And they're like, well, we've already contacted him, or we've already sent this back to him twice, and he still hasn't done it the right way. We haven't heard anything back. And I'm thinking, they're busy. They get a ton of faxes every day. If they're not looking for it, sometimes they miss them. And so that's what I think happened, because my doctor was very, very agreeable that this is something that would be beneficial to me. And anyway, so I said, well, can I take the paperwork to him myself? I said, I have an appointment next week. Nope, you can't do that. It has to go through our office. And I said, okay, well, what if I take it, he signs it, and then he faxes the office? Nope, can't do that. I said, okay, well then I will talk to him. I'll tell him to make sure to go ahead and find that old fax or whatever and do it. Nope, can't do that. Why? Because they've already done their duty and they've already tried to contact him. And because they haven't got the one answer on this one question, I don't even know what the question was, he's denied. Like, permanent denied. And he's like, so I said, I don't even know what to do because Jack's not going anywhere. And he's like, well, I don't want you guys to move, but I don't know, what other options there are besides getting rid of him. And I'm like, there's no way we're getting rid of him. No way. I know some people might think that's stupid. Oh, just get rid of him. It's just a cat. But it is not just a cat, especially to my son. That cat is, my son and my husband are both, like, definitely cat people. I love cats. I love dogs. But they're definitely more cat people. And Jack and my son, they are, like, best friends. Jack sleeps in his bed. It's just, there's no way I would do that. No way I would do that to him. And so I'm kind of at this, I don't know. So my manager says, well, let me know, but if I don't see him, I don't know he's here. And if I see him, all I have to do is the paperwork. But if I don't see him, then I don't. And so he's like kind of basically telling me, like, if you can hide him, then I'm not going to say anything. So at this point, that is kind of what we're doing. But Jack is a stinker, and he's really, really good at sneaking out. And you can think you're being super careful when you leave, and he can still do it. And so we've had to, like, lock him up in a bedroom or a bathroom or something while we're going in and out so that he doesn't try to escape. But he also likes to go in the windows like most cats do. So that's the other reason that I don't feel comfortable. It's just, I don't know, it's stressful. We got in trouble for having the dogs on our patio without a leash on. They were just, Maya which is our trained service dog, was laying down on the cement on our patio. And we were sitting right there next to her, but I didn't have a leash on her and have it in my hand. And so we got in trouble for that. It's like, she was right there. She was on our patio. It's like, I just don't get it. I don't get it. And honestly, since we've lived here, since 2012, we have had 4 or 5 different managers come through. Not one other time have we ever got in trouble or a notice or anything for anything. I know that the corporate office, there's a few of the gals in there, they do not like me. I used to work here. I used to do the groundkeeping stuff. And then Charlene had rehired me last September. She rehired me to do it. And they fired me basically within 2 weeks. I did nothing wrong. They rehired somebody that didn't do the job, that was constantly skipping out on it, lying about it. And I So I feel kind of like, I know this sounds super petty and stupid, but I do kind of feel like they're targeting me a little bit. And whether that's true or not, but that's just how I feel. So it's just been kind of a stressful thing. And I don't want to feel stressed in my home. You know what I mean? Like, I want to feel relaxed and comfortable, and I just don't. You know, I'm always worried that Jack's going to get out, or Jack's going to go in a window. The dogs are used to being able to go on the patio without leashes, and it's just, and like I said, Lincoln, he will not poop on the leash, if he's on a leash. Yeah, so I take him to the field anyway so they can run around twice a day, but it took me a while just to get him to pee while on a leash because he was so used to not doing it. But anyways, this has been a total rant, like complain, get everything off my chest kind of WIP and chat. So I apologize. This is just kind of like, I guess, the drama going on in my life right now. And that's not typically my life. My life is usually pretty drama-free. I mean, besides the health issues that I face and that my daughter faces, like, it is pretty drama-free. But lately, all of this stuff, and this stuff is also really not good. Really not good for me. I'm already having some issues with some flare-ups, and I talked to my doctor, and he's basically, I have an appointment with him, but like my asthma's been bad again. I've been getting really bad headaches again lately. I've had stomach issues lately. And when I talked to him, you know, he was basically saying that it is a flare-up of one of my autoimmune diseases, and it causes all sorts of different things, but they're definitely like exacerbated when you are tired and kind of run down, and that's how I kind of feel lately with like the drama that's going on and then not sleeping a lot, and I'm kind of just always go that I need to be taking care of myself better so that I can you know, do what I need to do, because if I don't take care of myself, I can't be here to take care of anybody else. And that's not good. So I really have to learn to ask for help and to take care of myself and make my kids do more of the chores and that kind of thing. So I am going to, but I have to say that doing videos though, and like my diamond painting, that to me is such a emotional outlet. Like I don't want to say I get a high off of it, because that's kind of a weird way to say it, but I kind of do. Like I get that, you know, those endorphins, and I like to make videos, and I like to work and complete a diamond painting, and I like to talk to you guys and just kind of be involved in the diamond painting community. And so I am glad I have this, and I thank you so much for being kind of a part of it, because if it weren't for you, then obviously I would have no reason to make videos, because nobody would be watching them. So I greatly appreciate all of you. I know that this is a rather long WIP and chat for me. I know a lot of people do pretty long ones. I try to keep it under an hour, because I know you guys all have things to do and places to go, but I have been asked and had requests to do more WIP and chats and to do longer WIP and chats, because I know you guys are like me probably. I listen to those when I'm diamond painting, and so it's nice to have one that's an hour, hour and a half, so that when I sit down and work, I can listen to them. And so I will promise I will try to do, at least one a week for you. But I can't guarantee it. So yeah. But I am doing lives now on Saturday at 6:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So if you would like to join me for that live, then it's tomorrow night. So, and I'm very excited. I have been having a lot of fun. I was very nervous at first, and I still get a little bit nervous, but it's a lot of fun to be able to interact with all of you as we're kind of, going along with it. And I always have a few sneak peeks for you guys. I was really, really hoping to get my store up and going by today, like ready for you guys, but it's just not there yet. I am super close, but I am I just want it to be, I don't know, I'm just not ready quite yet, but I'm getting there. And I've got some new stuff, and I'm really excited about it all. So I will be probably giving you guys a little sneak peek tomorrow of a couple of the new cover minders that I got, and then a couple of the pens that I got. So yeah, that will be tomorrow, 6:30 Pacific Standard Time. And what else? I think that's about it. Yeah, so I hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful day or night, whenever you choose to watch this. But as always, you guys are braver than you believe, stronger than you seem, and smarter than you think. So keep shining. Bye, guys.
Thank you for watching, and if you haven't already and would like to subscribe, don't forget to hit that subscribe button below and the bell icon to be notified when I put up a new video.